Family values and the meaning of family are important issues for many in America. They've even become a presidential talking point in a sense. Ohio Senator and Donald Trump's running mate, J.D. Vance, previously disparaged America's, quote, childless cat ladies. That could have a big impact in the race. In the meantime, here's what Vance said back in June.
We're effectively run in this country via the Democrats, via our corporate oligarchs, by a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices that they've made, and so they want to make the rest of the country miserable too. And it's just a basic fact.
Could that mindset have perhaps influenced a Republican candidate running in a competitive race for an open seat in Virginia's 7th District? We're talking about Derek Anderson, and he borrowed this family to sit as his own wife and daughters for repeated photo ops, according to the New York Times. Anderson has shared photos of him posing with the wife and children of one of his friends to apparently appear like they are his own family, including one image of them all around a dining table.
Anderson has not yet appeared to comment on these photos, but he didn't. Okay, we play a little defense here, I guess. He didn't claim it was his family.
I mean, Robby, you're stretching a little bit.
Am I?
And nobody would have seen the photos that we just showed there and thought that's some guy just hanging out with his friend's family, which would be even weirder, no?
What? I don't know. I don't think it'd be weird. What would be weird?
Well, it would be weird to use in one's campaign literature or on a website a photo which is you surrounded by an adult woman and several younger girls in what clearly appears to be a family pose. It's just like your friends.
I don't know. I think it's okay to be, I mean, I've never run for office, so I don't know what kind of campaign literature I'd run with, but I think it's fine to have friends who have kids or are married and take pictures with them. And I looked it up, so he is engaged to be married. He's not currently married. I guess he, you know, in some ways it'd be weirder if he had his fiance and then some random kids. Right. But instead it's just, you know, photos with family friends or neighbors or something. I don't see the problem.
I think you're doing a heroic job trying to play devil's advocate, but I think this is pretty dodgy. I think, you know, what it speaks to my mind, is this idea, which I actually find quite sad, that a person running for election thinks that the fact that they are not married, though he is, as you say, engaged, and doesn't have children, that those would be politically detrimental things. I think that's you know, genuinely unfortunate if he does feel that way. It seems pretty clear to me that he does, because I think those photos are very intentionally staged, really, to give that impression. We
haven't elected a lot of single people to the presidency, of course. I think it was just Grover Cleveland, right, who got married in the White House?
I think so. Isn't Grover Cleveland the one who is speculated to actually be the first gay president?
No. That's oh yeah, you're right. He was a bachelor. Buchanan.
Buchanan, yeah.
Buchanan was right. He was like real close friends with the previous vice president or whatever who died. Yeah, no, you're right. He was not married at all. I believe Grover Cleveland got married while he was in the White House. Possibly. And then, of course, well, he's not the only person to get married. Woodrow Wilson was married, his wife died, and then he got remarried again while he was in the White House. Maybe that was Grover Cleveland's deal, too. I don't think so. But Buchanan was the one who was, a bachelor, and probably because he was gay.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, and the thing, getting back to this Republican candidate, is you would think that at this time in our social history, where we are rightly, in my view, so accepting of all kinds of things, that it wouldn't be detrimental to be a person who's engaged and has no children. And I think that it is unfortunate that he seems to have an issue with that. There is polling, and Gallup has polled for a long time, questions about whether people would vote for people who fall under various categories. And for a long time, rather to my disappointment, because I'm not a religious person, atheist has been one of the biggest categories that would bar people.
We can't have the godless in government. We can't have that, Niall.
We can't let them in. It seems such a bizarre thing to be unaccepting of when we are, as I say,
the number one thing that are
removed. Lots of other things.
Yeah, I mean, as also not a particularly religious and single, and I don't have children. I don't have a cat. I guess I would be an unappealing political figure, but oh well. If that's just what the people want, that's what the people want.
You could perhaps borrow a friend's family and have a photo shoot that way.
I got lots of friends with kids. I just steal my my brother, his kids, his
go.
wife for a nice little photo op. I'm like, Caitlin, bring the girls over here. You don't know what this is for.
I think
Selfie.
I think maybe Uncle Robby might be a
Robbie. That's going to give me away.
Well, no, Uncle Robby would be fine. That would be better, I think, than borrowing your friend's kids.
This was part of an article, right, by the New York Times about how GOP candidates looking to soften their image turn to their wives, which is very about how because they all have very strong pro-life positions, and this gender split is emerging, even as race is depolarizing as an issue, because you have Republicans and Donald Trump, at least on paper, at least on polling-wise, we'll see what it actually comes to, doing better with racial minorities than they've done in many other cycles, but more of a gender split emerging in how the parties are perceived by the genders, gender split, and then also the major split just being income and education, now increasingly being correlated with Democratic politics, where it was not before.
And that has been a concern in Republican politics for a long time. I've been doing this long enough that I remember talking to Kellyanne Conway long before she was a Trump advisor. She was a Republican pollster. And Kellyanne's niche in that industry for a long time was advising Republican candidates on how to talk, particularly about abortion, but about women's issues in a way that was not alienating to them. I don't know if she would advise them to have these unusual photos that this gentleman has, but certainly the idea of trying to not alienate female voters in the suburbs is obviously important.
She has the most warped family situation of all. Right. Actually, we talked about this on Rising last week.
We can bring George in to chat about it.
Right. That her and her daughter did this interview for Fox Nation, talking about their different politics. That it was actually nice to see, because they had been so angry and at odds, and it was like we're all being dragged into the family drama of the Conways against our will. So I was happy to see they've patched things up enough to have a civil conversation, Kellyanne and the daughter.
No, and if they can have a civil conversation about differences, that's all to the good.
Very nice. All right, we will not throw any fake family photos at you today. More Rising right after this.